Every time period in human history contains a piece of human expression that goes on to define that generation in history textbooks for centuries to come. In 3000 BC, we had the Great Pyramids of Giza. In 1503, Leonardo da Vinci painted the Mona Lisa. And in 2019, Tom Hooper gave us his magnum opus, Cats. What films will define this generation? These are those films.
Friends who do stuff together, you is for you and me.
Starting off, we're going with our So Bad It's Good horror film category, and starting off that list is number 10 with Wish Upon, starring Joey King. It's from the acclaimed director of many classic films like Mortal Kombat Annihilation and Annabelle. And so from that genius, we get Wish Upon, right? And Joey King has this wish box, and it makes her wishes come true, but like every time she gets a wish, she phrases it in this comically vague way. So there's that obvious cliche where all of her wishes get, misconstrued and bad things happen. And every time she makes a wish, one of her family members dies in this hilarious mix of Final Destination and Tom and Jerry style of violence. Also, she never wishes for anything like a cure to cancer or world peace. She wishes for her high school bully to get a disease, and then she wishes for the guy she likes to fall in love with her.
Yeah, do it.
What's so funny, winner?
Yeah, what's funny is that you're smegma.
Ah!
Smegma, it's a noun. A malodorous, opaque, white or yellow substance produced by the sebaceous gland.
And is for anywhere and any time at all.
Down here in the deep blue sea.
Okay, so my number 9 pick is a two-way tie between Truth or Dare and Truth or Dare. So both of these movies have the same plot, and they both manage to be equal in how much of an abomination they are. So all these teenagers who look like actors in their 20s go on vacation, and wherever they go has some curse, and it forces them to play Truth or Dare, and they all die in hilariously terrible ways. In the Lucy Hale movie, you have all of them getting these retarded Willem Dafoe faces when they get taken over by the demon, and it just looks so stupid. Neither of these movies have rules, just whatever the plot needs at that time just happens. And there's this hilarious moment in the 2017 movie where this guy needs to drink a random bottle of liquid, and he just sniffs it and says,
"It's poison."
"Why are there so many of these?" There's so many decisions in this horror film that aren't necessarily bad, just confusing. Like, look at their wallpaper. What the fuck? Okay, so I think that everyone is going to disagree with this pick. I don't care. My number 7 pick is Ant-Man. Now, everyone, whenever I tell them how much I hate Ant-Man, they tell me, "Rich, Ant-Man's an okay movie. It's not that bad." And that's my problem with it. This movie, its only goal is to be okay and passable, and it doesn't try to make anything about it good. It doesn't try to risk anything. It doesn't try to say anything. It's just trying to get your $12. You watch it, say, "That was okay," and then leave and not even question it. This is like the epitome of why I hate a lot of superhero movies, because this movie has no personality to it. Out of all the Marvel movies, this is the one that I saw with the least amount of personality. And it would have been the best Marvel movie if they let Edgar Wright direct it, but no, they fired him because he actually had a creative voice. And he actually had something that he wanted to say. So you could have had the best Marvel movie, but instead you got the worst. But Ant-Man doesn't have the award for worst superhero movie of the decade, because that goes to Suicide Squad, which is just hilarious on every level. It's such an incompetent piece of work, and it's amazing to me how much money went into this dumpster fire. This movie, it's so dark, I can barely tell what's going on. The lighting is just so bad, and this is something that you don't normally notice in movies, but I can't see anything. And then when they're in the middle of the desert and it's in the middle of the day, I still feel like it's dark. Am I going crazy? Jared Leto's Joker is so bad, and it's so hilarious to me that the Joker before him and the Joker after him both got Academy Awards, but he just got made fun of to no end. He looks like a Hot Topic reject. He has the word damaged tattooed on his forehead. He just acts like a mobster who breathes heavily. Also, the editing to this movie is so funny. Look at this clip. I didn't make a single edit to this clip. This is actually in the movie.
Lady Joker.
That's right.
Yo, Jay.
And that was just a...
And number 5 is Cats. This is one of the ugliest movies I've ever seen. Why does the CGI look like that? Why are all these cats so horny? Why is James Corden getting hit in the nuts? Why do the cockroaches look like that? Why is Rebel Wilson removing her skin? What was Tom Hooper thinking? Why has God abandoned us? When is my... Number 4 is Now You See Me, another movie that you're probably like, Rich, this movie isn't that bad. Listen, this movie is so infuriating to watch because I think Mark Ruffalo is an awful actor.
I'm gonna take my horse down Old Town Road and I'm gonna ride him till I can't.
No more.
I don't think he's good in anything I've seen him in. He's like just this bumbling idiot in everything he plays, and this movie is the worst I've seen of him because he's this supposed to be this detective, this genius detective, but he just looks so dumb throughout the entirety of the movie. And everywhere he goes, he like, the magicians just get the jump on him. But then the plot twist of the movie is that he was the magician the whole time.
What a twist!
Meaning that the whole movie was just a series of Mark Ruffalo going places, getting outsmarted by what was him the entire time, and then looking like a bubbling idiot. It hurts to think about. And number 3 is another tie between two movies that absolutely butcher something that I love. So these are the worst remakes of the decade. These are The Thing and Avatar: The Last Airbender. Now with Avatar: The Last Airbender, it's like one of the greatest television shows ever. And then they were like, hey, who do we get to direct this action adventure serial with a lot of these fun characters? I know. The guy who's good at horror films with two characters that barely emote and hasn't made a good movie in like 5 years. Yeah, let's give him $150 million to do whatever the fuck he wants. And then they all call each other by these mispronounced names. Like Ong?
The monks named me Ong.
Ong. No, it's Aang. Did you even watch the show, M. Night?
Is it okay if you tell me your name? The monks named me Ong.
Okay, guys, enough! These in America have been pretty harsh, but does that affect the way you move on to number 2?
Well, no, you know, the critics are, I don't know what's going on with me and the critics in the United States. I gotta tell you, something's going on.
They just don't get you.
They've never got me, and it's getting worse.
And then there's The Thing, of course, which just... the 1982 version is like one of the best horror films ever. And then the 2011 version is just... it takes all the amazing practical effects of the original and it just gives it terrible shit CGI, and all the characters are awful. The main character is one of the most infuriating main characters I've ever seen in a movie. It destroyed Mary Elizabeth Winstead's career. If you would like to hear the episode of my podcast where me, my friend Frankie, and Jake all drunkenly talk about why the 1982 version of The Thing is so good, and then why the 2011 version of The Thing butchered it for like 2 hours, you can click right here and watch that. It's a lot of fun.
And I also vote to acronym Mary Elizabeth Winstead's name to Mew, and we'll just call her that from the rest of the podcast.
Okay, Mew. This was the worst.
So I really hate Mew and how she portrays.
She was terrible. So my top 2 are movies that make me think the director is a bad person. And starting off with that is The Haunting of Sharon Tate. Okay, so from this point on in the video, I'm gonna talk about some imagery that just pisses me off so much. So in order to spare your eyeballs, what I'm gonna do is, instead of showing you that imagery, I'm just gonna show you this video of happy dogs running in a field. Now you see you have the Sharon Tate murders where she was pregnant and her friends got murdered by the Charles Manson cult, and this movie takes a cheap approach to exploit this tragedy to make an awful horror film about it. So Hilary Duff is Sharon Tate, and she gets these like visions and premonitions about what's gonna happen, and then she just gets upset and complains to her friends for like the entire movie. This whole movie is a cycle of premonition followed by her talking to her friends, and then her friends being like, nah, Sharon Tate, it's not that bad, you're not gonna get brutally murdered. And Sharon Tate's like, okay, you got it. And that's the whole movie over and over and over again until the actual people show up to murder them. And then it's just this tasteless, gruesome expose showing in slow graphic detail the murders of this actual person who tragically died while pregnant, and then they have the gall to even use Sharon Tate's real life last words in the movie. It's disgusting. I've never felt more gross while watching a movie. It's so unethical, and I actually DM'd the director on Twitter asking him if I could interview him for this video, and he never replied to me, which I understand. I get it. You don't want another fucking YouTube movie guy to do some hit piece about you.
The whole town used for uranium bombs, and he's for...
So, the worst movie of the decade is movie 43. So, this movie's an anomaly. It's basically a raunchy, terrible comedy that all the jokes feel like they were written by 11-year-old boys over Modern Warfare 2 game chat. I probably would have laughed at this when I was 11, but I'm not 11 anymore, and I see it for how crude and disgusting it is. And the strangest part about this movie is the cast. You have Hugh Jackman, Kate Winslet, Emma Stone, Seth MacFarlane, Common, Halle Berry, Liev Schreiber, and Richard Gere. What is happening here? How did they get all these A-list Academy Award winning actors to be in this shit garbage fire of a movie? Well, the answer is the director was friends with Hugh Jackman, and Hugh Jackman was doing a movie with Kate Winslet, and he asked Hugh Jackman, can you do this movie? Just be in one scene, it'll be super, super quick, you only have to show up on set for one day. And Hugh Jackman was like, yeah, I guess I could do that. And then Hugh Jackman somehow convinced Kate Winslet to be in it with him, and in their scene, they're on a date, and Hugh Jackman has testicles on his neck. That's the joke of the whole scene. It's not funny. And then the director used the fact that Kate Winslet and Hugh Jackman were in this one sketch to convince all these other actors, like, oh, we got Hugh Jackman and Kate Winslet in it. And then they started getting people like Emma Stone and Chris Pratt. And the more A-list actors they got, the more clout they had to convince more people to do it. And they started using these really, really sketchy contractual obligations to legally force these actors to be in these awful scenes. And you have Richard Gere, who I feel so bad for him. He just tried so hard to get out of this movie, and he was like, nope, I'm in my house across the country. I can't move right now. And they were like, that's cool, we'll move the entire set into your house to film your scene. And then he just kind of had to do it. They're all embarrassing themselves. Chris Pratt diarrheas all over a car. Emma Stone does this. Oh my god, it's so gross. It's just, I don't understand. Mr. Farrelly, what were you thinking with this movie? But, you know, at least we all can say that after he pissed off most of Hollywood, he was ostracized and never allowed to make a critically acclaimed movie ever again.
Oh, and the Oscar goes to Green Book.
What the fuck?